It's FG back with EU4 Anbennar. I think I played a day or two. But yeah, currently moving on to fighting Orghelovar, and we're gonna end up annexing them. Okay. Yeah. And then we go to Reuel. We should be able to get access through these guys. Okay. We should finish this siege before they do anything. And then I'll probably go sit on these two RNN provinces, and that should... hopefully that'll knock them out of the war. We also need to form some alliances, and I was thinking... because we need one elven and one human ally for one of our missions. Okay. Reuel should... no, they don't want out. Okay. We will take this. And we will take... Remnant Arquebusiers. I'm not quite sure how to say that word. Free professionalism. Beautiful. That's a war wizard. That is... and that's battle. Oh well. Hopefully that will do it too. I'm just gonna piece them out because I might want to annex them later. Corvuria should also let me through, but I'm gonna see if I can get away with just sieging down these two provinces. Fun fact, for those of you who aren't super familiar with the lore, RNN actually manages to unify all of this and forms its own country. Which I'm not sure is in the mod, but it's something that happens by Victoria too. And we will formalize the right to re-election, force re-election. There we go. Now we have a 5-4-6 ruler with strict and incorruptible, which is not the most amazing trait, but it's also not a negative trait, so that's quite good. It does cost us some Republican tradition, but that is acceptable. And we now need this. We are pretty badly behind in admin, so we need to take admin tech for a little bit. Oh, there goes our good treasurer. That sucks. We'll take him though. Alrighty. So we want cash or reps. I don't know. We'll do that. Yeah, it seems good. And then we annex all that. Yeah, no one cares. Nope, I should not have taken that tech, but it's alright. Let me send back... how many? Send 8,000. Okay, there we go. I was gonna cancel that access anyways. They do not want to form an alliance with us. What if we send an insult? Yeah, here we go. Friendship's been built on just mutual hatred, right? Yeah. I'm currently in need of admin, so I'm actually going to take the corruption. That's good. Okay, what else do we need? This to be hold level 3. That sucks. Ignorance is bliss. Kind of. Okay, that's not terrible. And I also... nope, can't do that yet. We're building this to make developing cheaper, because this gives 10% local development cost. Okay. I know I need to build that, but... yeah, there we go. We also need to get this up to 20. What's it called? Production. Oh, there goes our trader. Guess I gotta take that. Reclaiming our name. Our reclamation efforts are increasing in pace, and we have already come far from our humble beginnings as an adventurer band wandering the abandoned tunnels of the Serpent's Reach. Our new home is growing by the day, and we need more space for our new citizens and proper military to protect us from the dangers still lurking in the dark. That gives us money. Probably need to core that. What else? I'll take advisor cost, actually. Who else can I ally that's human? There we go. Actually, I won't do that quite yet. Okay, one of our colonies is done. That would be this one. Okay. Surprised we haven't gotten any events for like the age of our captain. Also want to get that at some point. We need to send out an expedition. Okay, so we do have one labyrinthine one. Okay, we probably want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna send 5,000 in. We're gonna probably give them expedition party, start preparation, send manpower, 5,000. Shut that to 100, prepare supplies. Do that. Organize the troops, draft terrain, draft terrain. Raise morale. Okay, there goes Cornite. Send this one right here. Unfortunately, it seems vassalizing Orghelovar has been a bit of a disappointment, as they are not they have not expanded as much as I would have preferred them to. Okay, we also ranked up our hold level. That's also good. Expeditionary party. Our preparations, raise morale. Okay. The choking death. We got some loot for that. We are currently also losing our great power status, which does suck pretty bad. I kind of want that admin. More loot. Can I set this as my objective for Tungir? Encourage development. Okay, they should give me that province. Yeah, I don't know what the devs were thinking when they made infrastructure ideas. Because they're kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll make an example of them. Is Corvuria willing to let them go? No, they are not. Oh boy. Okay, we got that done. We can do that. Is there... Nope, no decent manufactories. Nope. Do some of that. I guess I can just do trade then. I'm gonna trade. Army. Now, I'm gonna trust off Daltungur to execute this war in an appropriate manner. Onwards. Okay, what else do we need? Yeah, I'll take production efficiency. You know what? I'll let that. Okay. And we can also actually get rid of this fort because it's pointless because we have Oradia right here, which has extra defensiveness. Sure. Okay, what else can I build now? That. I'm gonna try and upgrade this to get just that little bit extra dev cost reduction. Okay, we are now at 656. We aren't even looking that terrible at, what's it called? We aren't even looking that terrible as far as Republican tradition either. Expedition party looks good. Okay, that's also something we should do. Okay. Now that we have obtained a supply of the same cobalt ores used by our ancestors, it should be possible to recreate the trademark fine blue glassware of Orghelovar. Without the right equipment, however, it is proving difficult to reproduce. Perhaps if we could secure a source of diamonds, we can build harder, sharper tools to work the glass with. There was concern when we initially refounded Orghelovar that the veins of cobalt-bearing alloy that our forebears once used to create their distinctive deep blue glass had been lost or exhausted centuries ago. But this is not so, the spirit of our forebears having smiled upon us. As one of our miners not 2 weeks ago discovered an ancient abandoned shaft lined with cobalite. With careful examination, we have replicated the old method used in Orghelovar to refine this ore into its powdered form, and by adding the correct amount of the still molten glass, we can produce a vivid, deep blue, a perfect to match the classical Orghelovar wares. This is not just another step towards reclaiming our heritage, it is also a wonderful commercial opportunity. Our customers can drink their dinner wines from crystal glass, the color of the afternoon sky. A historic moment. And we want to do that. Deepen the capital. Yeah, let's go. Also want to yes, development cost here. Let's find a different path. Yes, extra morale is good. Okay. State-wise, we should go ahead and state that. Yeah, we'll take him. Okay, what's our expedition looking like now? Pretty good. I should succeed. We already have far more loot than we put into it. You know, we'll upgrade him. Why not? And send a guy there. Okay. Orghelovar has kind of served their purpose at this point. Truce with Aranen has ended. Oh, sorry. Sneezed real quick. Cartels. We want to take... Well, you should probably take that. And where is it? Indebted to the cartels. Yes, we want to take that. And that. Okay. Lisna. Goed. Great power list-wise, we are number 5. Looking good. Okay. We now want... What do we want? Got that. Take Diplo Rep. I was wondering when that would fire. Okay, our advisors are more expensive now, but it's not that much more expensive. Okay, and we want to take... no. We'll do that. Favors. Break alliance with Krathenor. Who's Krathenor allied to? Okay, first step. With the reclamation of Shazund is here complete, we have secured a western gateway from the Serpent Spine directly into Bulwar. We should begin building up our own trade post close to the existing Bahari ports and land routes to begin profiting from our access to this new market. Okay, we need a human ally. You can improve relations with them. Expedition party is almost done. Okay, I'm gonna take a break for a moment, and it will look like I was barely gone. Oh, that was an accident. Alright, I'm back. I sort of noticed something kind of interesting that I guess I'll show off now that, yeah, I guess I'll show this off. I guess cave goblins have been sort of moved into multiple different culture groups. Over here near Gorburad, we have the skin burner goblins. We still have cave goblins. The spider wretch or crawler goblins. Presumably both mountain shark and rail skulker are rust road goblins. Cave goblins. Common goblins, cave goblins, we have gold tooth goblins, and then troll tamer goblins, and then undergrowth goblins, but they've been a thing for a little while. So I just thought I'd show that off since that was something I noticed. Yeah, I'll take that, I guess. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, what were we doing? Oh yes, we are going to annex Orghelovar as soon as we can. These boys can move over this way. We have not forced them to break their alliance yet. Okay, what was that? Oh, that's good. And we can take 3 more. Move these boys over here. Okay. And we also need Gelkalis as an ally. With Shazund here and Argordstone secured and reclaimed, we can now begin looking outside of the Serpent's Reach to the trading partners of old Orghelovar. Fine cobalt blue Orghelovar glass can still be seen in many old places and temples in Bulwar, but the kingdoms that once purchased our glass to build these structures are now long gone. Today, Bulwar is a fractured mess of human-elven infighting. We should avoid involving ourselves with the politics of the region and should instead establish friendly trade with both sides to ensure we may continue to profit. And we get that. And cartels, patronage of the arts, summon the diet. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, great. A decadence event. Impress Bulwar. Although constantly embroiled in war and religious instability, Bulwar is rich with opportunity. Conflicts can forge brilliant minds, and some Bulwari elves have lived long enough to gathered truly impressive amounts of knowledge. Now our traders are established in Bolwar, we can make connections with some of these figures and perhaps impress them enough to gain their support. From the Journal of Grumhir Heavybellow, senior accountant for the Orghelovar Bolwari Finehammer Caravan Company. Interesting encounter in the market in Akbar today. After meeting with F. Zawari at the Alchemist Guild, I visited an antique dealer under recommendation of Zawari, accompanied by L. Wirebeard. Wirebeard traveled ahead, and I arrived 30 minutes hence, only to discover Wirebeard in an argument with the owner of an antique emporium, Miss T. Surakesi, over the prominence of a glass decanter displayed in the store. Wirebeard is once more causing problems with his refusal to properly learn Bolwari. I do not understand Mrs. Finehammer's tolerance for him. The man could not sell gold to a goblin. I digress. I spoke to Sir Kessie in my own passable Bolwari, and achieved a pleasant resolution to the argument. Her store is in possession of many antique Orghelovar pieces, phenomenal, as always, craftsmanship. I explained our business coming from re-established Orghelovar, showed her some samples, including my beloved Glomol's travel flask, and I had in my possession. Sir Kessie passed her compliments to our glassblowers. Reminder, pass this on to Gloma. It appeared that there is a large market for antique Orghelovar glass in an Akbar at least, and Miss Zawari claims that this is also the case further south. There appears to be a great opportunity to leverage this interest in new customers for our own wares. The ancestors must be proud. Okay. Let's start paying off loans. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start repairing Vogel Skaldamir. Okay, so we want to break alliance with Krathenor. Can we fabricate any more claims on them? I don't believe so. Okay, and now we declare war for West End. That was worth it. Easiest siege of my life. There goes our court mage. What's a diamond dwarf? Okay, you want that. Okay, maybe we don't want all that. Having a blast. No, we don't want that event. Because that event is just terrible. Okay. What if I don't? Okay, that's still a lot of A. All these provinces are really high dev. Like, this is like 40 development. Well, really about 50. And part of it is that we have, yeah, really low admin efficiency. Okay. Now we want development cost. Okay, we're actually going to go ahead and dissolve the alliance with Galcalis. Okay. Really? That guy died already? And, oh, well, actually, we gotta take one of these guys off. Influence actions. What's our... Repay them in full and send them back out. Alrighty. Yeah, take that, take that, take that. Oh. I'll do that. And get 6 cannons instead. And we are going to start annexing them. We want religious diplomats. From nobility, we want nobility integration policy. It'll get better after we reduce our AE. What can we do with all this money? Expedition menu. Gorge of Eric. Organize this. Start preparations. Air supplies. We will do this. What's our innovativeness looking like? Expedition party, start preparations, send manpower, send 1,000 men. Sometimes the first level of these is very simple. Not a soul in your expedition force knows what secrets lie beyond those rusted yet majestic depictions of hammer contraptions, weapons, and anvils, but your uncertainty only fuels your desire to unlock its secrets. You debate amongst yourselves and come to a conclusion. This surely has to be an abandoned workshop. After a quick pause, one of your leaders suggests braving the torrent to the side of the entrance, while another one claims to have found a side tunnel leading into a cavern that may allow us to gain access via other means. A modest cave. After a sharp turn, you arrive at a modest cave where nothing seems to be of interest except a few rocks and unusual formations. You are about to investigate as a group of goblins jump out at your party. Your group fought hard and well. At first it seemed like the goblins may have gained the upper hand due to the surprise momentum, but your expedition quickly scatters the attackers, cheering in delight as they watch their ambushers flee to where they came from. At the edge of the cave, your group finds an outline of the wall with several cracks and a small, unstable-looking passageway through it. Some members of your force argue that we should try and slip through the admittedly very narrow pathway, while others argue we should stabilize the gateway or else risk our safety. We'll just go. After deeming further precautions unnecessary, you make your way through the cracks in the wall. However, it seems your forces are blessed with good luck, and despite its looks, the small passage proves to be reliable enough for all men to pass through. Some of your expedition members suffer a small headache from bumping their heads against the rock, but aside from a few mischievous laughs, this is the only noteworthy occurrence. Storage Room 915B. After passing through some more small shaft and maintenance tunnels, you finally enter the main body of the structure and find yourself in a large room full of crates, barrels, and all kinds of metallic machinery. Several entrance points seem to have led to this storage room, and it appears to be an important part of the maintenance chain of this area. You notice several signs in the room spell out 915B, no doubt the name of the room. Judging by its nomenclature, this seems to be just a tiny part of a massive Dwarven workshop. Studying a largely unreadable map that hangs by the wayside of another entrance, you quickly find out that 915B seems to connect to a much larger structure, as this is, albeit quite large, advanced post and storage facility meant to deliver goods to the main production and control facilities ahead of the large cargo tunnel. Many in your expedition want to move ahead to said facilities as soon as possible, while others argue that the storage represents a perfect opportunity to stock up and search for valuables. We're just gonna run through it as quickly as possible. You proceed to follow the cargo tunnel towards the other facility. As you go along the tracks laid down by workers potentially eons ago, you begin to notice two things. First, the rather quiet atmosphere totally devoid of life usually found in most shafts like this. And second, the appearance of more and more cobwebs around you. And soon, one of your scouts notices several pair of shiny red eyes that keenly seem to follow his every move, as well as cocoon. Quite a few cocoons that seem to hang in the distance, and that seems awfully recent. He barely has time to shout out a warning, though, as suddenly a dozen gigantic spiders descend upon you. They seem to have built a nest in the connecting corridor, and you are but the latest prey to fall into their poisonous fangs. You assume positions as ordered, and the fighting ensues. Blades clash with long fangs, daggers, and hardened legs, and arrows and spit fly over the field of battle. Your warriors do well in defending the group after initially having some problems, eventually managing to kill the animals with some quick and decisive actions. As you inspect the dead bodies around you, some of your scouts eventually decide to investigate the cocoons. As luck would have it, they find several bags of gold and other valuables under some of them, as your group doesn't seem to be the first victims of the arachnids encountered here. Okay, who else? Okay, that's one more. Really? Isn't too many, expedition targets. You follow the cargo tunnel and at long last reach a long curve, where the track starts splitting into several paths aligned with each other. Clearly the end of the line is near, and sure enough, as you turn the corner, your eyes gaze upon a giant structure in an even larger cave. The entire lower outer surface is covered with engravings and a big metal sign that proudly displays the name of the complex, Workshop 9. The parallel tracks lead further into a large gate that is sealed tight with giant metal locks, but thankfully you notice several smaller doors that lead inwards that can be opened without much trouble. You are finally here. I'll just let them rest. Okay, so Workshop 9. This is a relatively quick one. definitely take this. We're gonna take that. That'll be good, that'll be good, that'll be good, and that'll be great. Movement speed is always great. Alrighty. We also paid off all our loans. And we get audit the government. Bat flu. Okay. We're gonna send... no, we'll just train him here. We're gonna send 5,000 in this time. Expedition menu. Organize the expedition. Prepare supplies. 60%. Raise morale. Organize. Okay. Do that. Expedition parties, preparations, and manpower. 5,000. We'll send a little bit more supplies. Okay. Entering Workshop 9. As you enter Workshop 9, your group finds themselves in a gigantic and ornate room that seems to be the main hub area of the central complex. You quickly notice that the entire facility is powered by an intricate mechanical system which is currently non-functional due to either a lack of fuel or simply broke down as decades passed by without anyone using it. Inspecting the doors leading away from the main room, you notice not only a forge and storage, but also towards a control room. You make your way to it, as it promises to be the safest option to find a solution to your current predicament, but much to your dread, you hear a siren as soon as you get close to your target. Intruders detecting. Powering up defense system SG-02. You wonder what it could mean when suddenly a large mechanical entity charges at you and uses what appears to be a highly advanced range weapon system to target your members. You draw your weapons and ready yourself to fight against what appears to be a giant golem. A quick charge and some finesse does the trick. Though its weaponry seemed at first impressive, it is rather slow when maneuvering, and your expedition force prevails against this golem. Some of you suffer wounds on their extremities and will be unable to fight for the foreseeable future, but overall you are quite satisfied with the outcome of this encounter, and the valuable gemstones and metals you ripped from the remains of the golem afterwards. We are going to take... what other idea group? Trade. Yeah, we gotta take traded ideas. Control room reached. After disposing of the security golem, you reach the control room, only to find, to your apprehension, were well founded, it hasn't been maintained in a long time, and there are several important systems seem to be dysfunctional. One of your members notices both boiler room and machine room doors are open and show signs of activity. They argued trying to get both systems running again would restore most of the functions complex, but you're unsure which one to tackle first. You know what? Let's go to the machine room. Your group follows the winding pathway that leads to a large machine room, at least according to the sign above the entrance. You take a gander inside and find several rows of complex machinery humming in a barely lit hall, as well as huge metal apparatus in the back lined by several rows of round objects. You briefly wonder why the machines do not seem to work, even though the dim light and noise indicates a certain activity, when you notice pulsating mass of what appears to be wind and electricity approaching you from the corners of the room. Several elementals seem to have made home in this room, sucking out the power of the systems to nourish themselves. They must be defeated. The elementals are tough enemies to fight, as their magic-infused bodies seldom allow for attacks to penetrate them. Nevertheless, your group's experience prevails, and you all take out the creatures with only slight casualties. What am I doing here? Marketplace. Oh, Honda rocks around. After fighting off the elementals, you inspect the room a bit closer and soon notice that a broken axle seems to block the transmission of power the machines seem to generate to the rest of the structure. Your group has some members with enough technical experience to attempt some temporary measures to fix the issue, but failure will probably have drastic consequences. Bring me the best craftsmen on our force. The broken axle turns out to be a bigger problem than imagined, and 2 of your best engineers spend a good hour on it. Thankfully, though, they have a reputation as the best, not without reason. A quick rewiring of the security system allows for a rash replacement of a few axles, tubes, and cords to ensure the transmission can work as intended again. As a bonus, the now disabled security system allows the rest of the group access to previously locked rooms containing various crates of rare metals, currency, and valuable belongings of past workers. Water pump. After you spend hours attempting to repair various systems in the control area of the structure, you finally feel confident enough to power up the entire system once again. The scholars in your expedition, in the meantime, found out that a reboot of the entire pump station is necessary for the rest of the systems to function properly again and provide the rest of the workshop with sufficient electricity. You gather everyone and venture towards the pump station near the bottom of the complex. You barely even reach the entrance of the corresponding areas when your scouts warn you about the sightings of a giant water elemental roaming the mostly flooded corridors. The water elemental is a fearsome foe as it grew to a gigantic size over the course of a decade where this was its home. Its lunges are fast, its attacks come without any hint and thus leave behind barely time to evade. You lose many men, but manage to parry most of the devastating attacks, eventually driving it into a corner. In this moment, the elemental contracts and starts pulsating in unusual ways, most curious and deadly too. In what can only be described as a steam explosion, the creature lets loose a grand last attack, which kills half a dozen men instantly, gravely wounding another dozen and decimates parts of the station entirely. The sheer brute force behind this last-ditch effort was sadly enough to damage the critical infrastructure of the entire complex, though. You hear beams bursting and water flooding from everywhere all at once as you realize this could turn out to be a watery grave for all of you. Everyone starts running at once, but to no avail. The way back is blocked by rebels, and you frantically try to search for another part. You get slowly submerged in water. You try swimming, you try holding on to each other, but it is of no use. Well, that was fun. I'm just going to send 2,000 this time. Okay. Expedition menu. You know what? I'm actually going to go back and try that again. Because I want to see how that goes. Organize the expedition. Prepare supplies. Do that. And we will build... We'll send 5,000 this time too, I guess. Expeditionary parties. Send manpower. 5,000 men. Raise morale. Start expedition. Entering workshop 9. Already read that. Already done that. We're going to try the boiler room this time. Let us go to the boiler room. As you reach the boiler room, you immediately notice that amidst all the different tanks in the area, there is one broken tank whose leakage is spilling out onto the floor. You could attempt to fix this issue as soon as possible or try to find a way around this issue. One of your expedition members is crafty enough to attempt it, but failing could have unforeseen consequences. It's worth a try. The craftsman of your expedition crew pays dividends. Within a few short moments, the leak is fixed and that system appears to be fully functional again. Additionally, your craftsman finds some rare metals in one of the crates and a valuable spare part in the back of the room. Your group follows the winding pathway leads to a large machine room, at least according to the sign above the entrance. You take a gander inside and find several rows of complex machineries humming in the barely lit hall, as well as huge metal apparatus in the back, power-lined by several rows of round objects. You briefly wonder why the machines do not seem to work, even though the dim light noise indicates certain activities, when you notice the spherical objects spring to life and homing in on your group with what appears to be special blades. The spears are tough opponents, whose not only special blades, but their unusually shaped bodies to maneuver at breakneck speeds and strike from uncommon angles, thus disrupting the flow of combat for even the most battle-hardened veterans in your group. Nevertheless, your experience wins out once again, and aim strikes at their weak points quickly cause them to collapse. As you inspect the remnants of the attackers, afterwards you notice a few small tracks that were left by faster, more dangerous security automatons, and you follow them to their source. A small storage and maintenance area, well hidden behind the small side shaft that houses not only spare parts galore, but large amounts of gems that were seemingly used to power the spheres. After you spend hours attempting to repair various systems in the control area of the structure, you finally feel confident enough to power up the entire system once again. The scholars in your expedition, in the meantime, found that a reboot of the entire pump station is necessary for the rest of the systems to function properly again and provide the rest of the workshop with sufficient electricity. You gather everyone and venture towards the pump station near the bottom of the complex. You barely even reach the entrance of the corresponding area when your scouts warn you about the sighting of a giant water elemental roaming the mostly flooded corridors. Okay. We can try that again. It's a little bit of trial and error. Expedition menu. Gulf of Eric, organize the expedition, start preparations. You know what? Let's try. I'm not sure. Let's try a more kitted out expedition this time. Let's send 10,000. Expeditionary party, start preparations, organize the expedition, map the terrain, map the terrain. Okay. Let's go to the boiler room. Let's continue into another room. Machine room. Oh, I guess we succeeded. The water elemental is a fearsome foe as it has grown to gigantic size over the course of decades that this was its home. Its lunges are fast. Its attacks come without any hint and thus leave barely time to evade. You lose many men, but manage to parry most of its devastating attacks, eventually driving it into a corner. In this moment, the elemental contracts and starts pulsating in unusual ways, most curious and deadly too. In what can only be described as a steam explosion, the creature lets loose a grand last attack, which kills half a dozen men instantly, gravely wounds another dozen, and decimates parts of the station entirely. Thankfully, no critical infrastructure was hit, and while it seems the entire station might collapse at any point now, the beams hold and you breathe a sigh of relief as you restart the pump. Some of your men also discover a large deposit of gold. A clever worker decades ago must have hidden a small alcove. Now lays bare thanks to the elemental's brute force attacks. Okay, Purple Skildamere is fixed. Okay, let's try it again. I'm wondering what the actual trigger to be able to get through the event is. Expedition menu. Organize an expedition. Start preparations. Organize the troops. Expedition party, start preparations, organize the troops. Construction is paramount. Sorry for scaves coming like this, but I'm very interested in what actually causes this. Workshop 9, onwards. Reject the reform. Boiler room. We'll find out if it's... because I'm not sure whether it's like choice-based thing, or if it's like a, you want to do that. Boiler room. It's worth a try. Okay, I think it's an organization-based thing then. After the pump has been restarted, it is finally time to do so with the rest of the systems powering the workshop. You hurry back to the control rooms and the technical specialists in your group start the procedure immediately. It takes a few minutes, but soon enough you hear the roaring, rumbling noise from the direction of the machine room, as well as the boiler room. The men you had taken up posts near the pump and other important parts of the system start reporting no malfunctions either. You have successfully restored full functionality to the workshop. Finally, you can start exploring the parts in the main room that were previously cut off. I guess we'll improve our holds. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Okay, where are we? Here we are. Oh yes, also trade ideas. Screen advisor. Okay, some of this we're going to state. We're going to state Krathanor and we're going to state Riuel. And the rest of this we are going to trade company. Okay, so we have a trade company. Yeah, that gives us a 50% goods produced. And we'll also... Yeah. That's good. Oh yes, we need to start... racial tolerance and pot control. Goblins, purge. And where are orcs? Do I need to be purging orcs? No. Can revoke the focus. Yeah, no one really cared too much about the Krathanori. We want... we'll take this actually. Just for a little bit extra governing capacity. Okay, when do we lose Legacy of Adventurers? We lose that in like a few years. Okay. And what are we looking like? Oh, we're almost done. tribes growing more accepted. That is 2 goblin provinces purged. Okay, we want to take that. Is there any good policies? Not great. Influence. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually have too many great policies. Like, some of them are good, but they're more niche, like indigenous ideas. Ostentatiously strike the carnal earth. This is randomly generated, by the way. Which is why you get weird things. With our domestic economy flourishing and our new hold secured, we can finally focus on our specialty, glassmaking. In the days of all Dwarvar, Orghelovar was known far and wide for its great wealth, all stemming from the glass trade. We must expand and reclaim the old depths of this hold if we are to start producing a fraction of what our ancestors achieved. Through great efforts, we have succeeded in drawing dwarves across the lawn to build a new nation in the Serpent's Reach. Our hold has been secured, our glassworks have been established, and our merchants have begun trade with the cities of Bulwar. The opening chapter of our nation's story has ended, but Orghelovar has only just begun. There is hushed silence in the State Hall as the head representative, Glima Firebellow, of the Glass Glowers Guild, presents the engraved wooden box to Dwazreg. The chamber is filled with curious government officials, representatives, and nobles of the hold's burgeoning merchant class. He inspects the oak box, running a finger over its varnished surface and crest of Orghelovar engraved into its lid, before flipping the metal clasps and opening the container. He lifts out a single goblet of perfectly clear crystal glass, mold blown with an intricate pattern of geometric lines that run from rim to base. Each line of identical width and spacing despite the curved surface. The representative Firebellow holds her breath. Dwazgreg lifts the glass up to one of the narrow shafts of daylight carried deep into the hold by the State Hall's intricate system of glass-paned surface light wells. The light splits the crystalline edge of one point of the goblet's pattern and casts a spectrum of colors across the floor. Thus far, Orghelovar has been little more than a pioneer settlement, a band of former adventurers squatting in a mausoleum of some of the greatest craft dwarves of the Serpent's Reach. The workshops and foundries may have been reopened, but our products have been rudimentary, good enough to serve our domestic markets for bottles and houseware, but for limited trade and traveling merchants passing outside the surface entrance, but not worthy of bearing the maker's mark of Orghelovar. But this is very different. This is worthy of the legacy of the Glass Lords. The wooden box is velvet-lined and filled with 20 of these goblets, all perfectly identical. With glass of this quality unrivaled in Canor or Bulwar, Orghelovar can proudly reopen for trade with the outside world. This is but the start of our legacy. Okay, and I think I'm going to go ahead and call it there. We will begin the second part of our mission tree. Let me do one thing before I forget. There. I'll do this as well. Fort level 2. we are also going to begin doing this. Okay, I'm going to set up a few things, but I'm going to call the episode here. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.